Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Performance E Streaming. It is Thursday night, and that means only one thing. It's time for the ANZCAR Cup. It is the final couple of races before the year ends. We are in race 34 of 36. Yes, we are very quickly coming to the end of the playoff season and the end of the 2023 championship. I'm as ever, Mr. Carl Wilkinson, with the welcoming you all here tonight. As ever, I'm joined up here in the booth by Mr. Mark Johansson. Mark, how you going, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Yes, very close to the end now, and time to put our feet up and relax for a little bit. But we've still
Absolutely.
got some great racing happening.
No, indeed. Good racing for these next couple of weeks, but we cannot wait to kick our feet up and enjoy some pina colada, and I'm sure Maddie Hunter will be looking forward to that indeed. Matt, how you going, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, looking forward to this one. Always like Homestead multi-groove track racing.
Yeah, the multi-groove really adds a lot up here at Homestead, Miami. So let's run through the starting order for tonight's race. Taking pole position, and he kind of needs it at the moment, Mr. Andrew Dyson. We'll go through that in a little bit of time. He is starting next to Ruben Phelps, both of them fighting it out in the playoff season. On row number 2, it is Toby Stent returning to the car after a period of time. Good to see him back, with Brenton Henderson having a really good time up in 4th position. Row number 3 sees Dave Douglas and Phil Otto lining up next to each other. Row number 4, we've got Lachlan Urquhart and Neil Pearson. Row 5 sees Riley Curtis and Noddy Tompkins line up next to each other. On the 6th row, it's Shane Bowen and Mr. Maddie Ray of SRM. Brad Fenley and Norman Clark make up our 7th row. Ryan Jones, Ben Hensker make up row number 8. And Derek Jacobs and returning Jai Schultz make up the 9th row here tonight. Jai Schultz, of course, he needs to take a victory to get himself through to the final round of the playoffs after missing last race, unfortunately. Of course, big implications for the frontman, Andrew Dyson, having that accident last time out with Mr. Matty Ray. That's put them both in the drop zone for the championship. So they are in a position where they need to get a strong performance tonight to get themselves through to the next stage of the championship. Dave Douglas, Ruben Phelps, Neil Pearson, all in good positions at the moment. Those three are kind of safe until somebody gets a victory, of course. If you get a win, you get yourself locked into that final set of rounds in the playoffs. And, any one of the 6 drivers, so anyone from Neil Pearson, Ruben Phelps, Dave Douglas, Andrew Dyson, Matty Ray, or Jai Schultz can take advantage of that. But some of them are in a must-win situation tonight. So still one more race before the playoff race, of course, the final race in Phoenix. But it is very important to get a good result here at Homestead, Miami tonight. Green flag is out, and we are about to go live for this round 34 of 36 of the championship. I'm going to shut up. Let's enjoy these cars hurtling around the track here at Homestead. And the first lap is completed, and Toby Stent moves to the lead. Beautiful run along the high line in the early stages. Toby Stent flooring himself into the lead. Battle between Ruben Phelps and Andrew Dyson at the moment, just behind him. These two have got to fight hard for their position, as somebody's just had a bit of a moment in at the background. I think it was Brad Fenley. Watch out for these cars going through the corners. They are really twitchy tonight. The rear end is stepping out on them very, very quickly. A little bit to do with the heat, I'm sure. 36-degree track temperature, 26-degree air temperature, and that's going to heat up those rear tyres very, very quickly, Mark. As we don't seem to have Mark with us at the moment. These rear tyres are going to boil very, very quickly, and watch for the drivers taking some different lines. You can see Ruben Phelps, a little bit of a tighter line at the moment, and he is flying down the inside of Toby Stent as it goes. Andrew Dyson just dropping back a little bit. watch for drivers just going a little bit calmer here at the start of the race, going a little bit slower and just relaxing a little bit, working their tyres in slowly. Some other drivers will be fighting a bit harder as well. So keep an eye out on who wants to do what with their stints, and well, you'll see how this one goes. We've just got a little bit of an issue in the background at the moment, so we'll be going radio mode for the time being, as it is Toby Stent up in the lead with Ruben Phelps. Ruben Phelps in the lead now with Toby Stent just behind him. Those two have pulled out a nice gap over Andrew Dyson, Dave Douglas, Brenton Henderson, Lachlan Oakville, Riley Curtis, Phil Otto, Neil Pearson, and Jai Schultz up into 10th position. Biggest mover of the night so far is Jai Schultz. He is working his way up the field nicely, pushing himself forwards and getting himself into a very solid position, as everything seems to be somewhat back to normality now. So yeah, everything's back up and running, which is always a good sign. Not missed much from the coverage, but as we said, Jai Schultz is currently on a charge up the front. Ruben Phelps sitting nicely. So some good moves going on at the moment, and there's a lot of different grooves being run by these drivers tonight.
Yeah, it's really a track that you can run high, low, middle, and even get some good drifting around the track, Carl.
Yeah, if you get that back end stepping out and manage to hold it, you can drift it nicely, but it's not so kind to those rear tyres, which they will not thank you for that. It's one of those moves you need to do in a do or die situation on the last lap, maybe, because you don't want to pull the trigger too early for that. You can see at the moment it is working very well for the front two. They're pulling away from Andrew Dyson, who has a massive train of cars behind him at the moment. And just have to wonder here if Dyson is just in a little bit of tyre conservation mode, just taking the car a little bit slower, just not pushing quite as hard in the car. It should be about 55 laps of fuel, I think, from memory here. So they will need to make a secondary stop. So that's going to be an important thing, just getting the fuel loads right and getting the pit lane transition time perfectly set as well. Two-stopper here, though, can work very well because the fresher tyres are a big bonus.
Yeah, we might just see Dyson try and save that fuel. We've seen him in the past really save some 3 or 4 extra laps on a tank. So maybe he's just trying to conserve those tyres and conserve that fuel and get those couple of extra laps that will put him in great stead for the second half of the race.
Yeah, of course, saving that little bit of extra fuel can reduce pit stop times and give you just a little bit of an advantage on the track, as well as making the stint a little bit more flexible too. Speaking of flexible at the moment, Jai Schultz is absolutely handling any line that he wants to. He is flying through the field, going great guns at the moment. He's up 10 positions. He's just behind Riley Curtis at the moment, looking to make another move in the number 27 car, of course, and he is having a very good run at the moment. It's a shame to see him not at the last race. There's a little bit of a step out there. He's going to have to drop in back behind Riley. But shame to see him not at last race, because he's had a really solid season so far. Great point scoring, of course, a fantastic victory from himself, but also keeping himself in good positions throughout the playoff season.
Yeah, it really is a must-win for him tonight to stay in the playoff, because going into next week, if he hasn't won tonight, it's going to be almost impossible for him, or I'd say impossible, as we see him step out there a little bit.
Yeah, of course, he gets one more opportunity next week for a victory, but if he misses that out, then when it comes to Phoenix, he'll be out of the championship. And he will not want that indeed. He's there with Ryan Jones behind him at the moment. Brenton Henderson, Dave Douglas, Lachlan Oakville, Riley Curtis in front. And good battle here between Riley Curtis and Dave Douglas, who's dropping down the pack a bit here.
They will probably be looking at saving those tyres too. We've seen him be pretty wily here in the past. I know with the Warriors last year, he was got almost right to the back, and then at that last section made a real big charge and come through and got a podium. So I wouldn't be too worried about Dave just yet.
See how that one unfolds. Jai Schultz just having a bit of a moment coming off of turn 4, back end stepping out on him heavily. Just saved the car, but took a big run down the low line on the start finish straight, and that's lost him a couple of positions as well. So it's starting to come in now as up the front, Dyson started to get a little bit more pace. He's closing in on Toby Stent, and just get the feeling he's just been saving the car a little bit in the early stages. And the same goes for Brenton Henderson, actually. He's been very, very calm in the early stages, and he's setting some good pace recently as well. So these two cars working their way up the field nicely, just coming back at those drivers that ran away a little bit at the start. Although the high line still working well for Toby Stent. He's favouring it quite a lot up there. Dyson on that slightly lower line, that more traditional line through the corners, which is a tiny bit faster, but you've got to get it working to get it absolutely right for you. So it's the thing about this place is you can absolutely run those different lines, and sometimes sort of mix and match them as well through 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. You know, it just varies on how you want to drive the car. And you can see at the moment Dyson he's sort of taking the high through 1 and 2 and then the low through 3 and 4, and that's working very well for him as they get so close coming onto the start finish straight, I should say. Great run there from Stent up on the high line. He's got that little bit of momentum, but Dyson is chipping away at him now, closing in very, very quickly indeed as they once again get so close on the exit. And what you'll see is Toby Stent will have a better run out the corner, Dyson will have a better run through the mid corner, but they are absolutely side by side at the moment. Really, really good stuff here as Dyson finally makes the move work, slides it up in front of Toby Stent, gets the move done. Stent gives him a little bit of a nudge going into the corner. Nice little bump there from the two. And yeah, they are racing hard at the front at the moment.
Yeah, definitely want to get the win for Dyson, and Toby will want to upset a few people by taking a podium or a race win himself after quite a bit of a layoff with racing. So nevertheless, it's good to see. We've got an
accident happening in the background, Mark. We've got a flag out, and Ryan Jones is around with Dave Douglas. So contact between Jones and Douglas, and that is not what Dave Douglas will have wanted in this night. It doesn't look like there's much damage to the number 10, neither to the 11, but that is the first caution of the race. So watch up here. Ryan Jones will just get a little bit loose in the next set of corners, I think it is. So in 3 and 4. He's just going to get a little bit twitchy going through turn 3. Back end steps out on him, and nowhere to go for Dave Douglas. The back end starts to slide, and all of a sudden he comes down in front of Douglas, and well, in front of his teammate there as well, of Pearson, and just a little bit of contact. They got away relatively unscathed with that one. Imagine Ryan's got a little bit of damage to the left rear, but not much at all. So they should be both pretty much fine. So this will lead to some pit stops here. A few people sticking it out. Got Phil Otto and
Nobby Tompkins.
Yeah, they're sticking it out. The rest of the field are in pit lane, and this is good news for a couple of them as well.
And Dyson has had a lightning stop, and he's got off pit road in front.
Yeah, really quick through pit lane. Looks like they changed all 4 tyres. About 14.6 stationary time for Dyson, 14.9 for Phelps, and that's that difference, and that's what's helped Dyson jump ahead of Ruben there and get him up in front. So that has changed things up, but we're going to have 2 cars up there on slightly older tyres now for this restart, as Noddy decides to pull it into the lane, I think. Yep. But Phil Otto is going to stick it out there and try something different here.
Yeah, well, we've only had 18 racing laps on these tyres, so it's definitely worth a shot as we see those two just change lanes and get in the correct positions.
No free lane chases, no free lane changes, unfortunately, in ANZCAR or no iRacing yet.
So we'll go back yellow, green at the end of this pace lap. But look behind Dyson and Phil Otto. I can see a lot of SRM boys there.
Yeah, they're sitting in a good position at the moment, and well, this could really shake things up, of course. And this gives Otto a little bit of extra tyres for the race, but his tyres are going to be up to temperature straight away. Watch him. He should have a good couple of laps where he'll be able to extend a gap here on those older tyres, because they're going to be nice and up to temperature. Everybody else is going to be on cold tyres, and that's going to just cost him a little bit of time here. So watch out for Otto just to get a couple of laps where he'll be able to extend himself, and we'll see how this unfolds. Pace car is into the restart zone we go, and Otto launches it away. The number one takes the lead of the race. We're back to green flag racing, 109 laps to go here at Homestead, Miami. And straight down, Dyson is looking to make a move, but those fresh tyres, the extra grip afforded to them, look at the grip levels around the outside. They are swarming Otto at the moment, and that gamble has not paid off.
No, that definitely has not. That was you see there, Dyson tried to slot down in front of Phelps, but he's been able to do it now by driving around the outside of him. And we see Toby Stent back in the lead of the race, Andrew Dyson second, Lachlan Urquhart third, and Jai Schultz up there now in fourth. So we've had a bit of a change in the running after that pit stop.
Yeah, Jai Schultz having a fantastic stop as well. That's got him a nice couple of positions in the lane, but he also made a huge amount on track as well in that first stint. So Jai Schultz is absolutely flying. He's got the bit between his teeth after missing that race, and he's going, well, I know I've got to win it, so I'm going to go for it tonight. And he is flying at the moment, just behind Neil Pearson in front of Brenton Henderson. You can see he is absolutely going for those moves.
Sorry,
Toby
mate.
Stent.
In the wall there on the outside run, then just got into the wall and ran the wall just half the length of that turn. Then
I was about to say that actually, he's been just giving that wall a little nibble. In the last few laps, he's given it a little tiny nibble. He's been running it so high. He's just been scraping the paintwork down that Atari car, and it's not been costing him any momentum, and that's the crucial thing. He's not lost momentum and pace, but he is really pushing, and you can see that by just touching that wall as they're 3 wide behind, as Urquhart moves himself up to second place ahead of Pearson. Dyson's going to lose a position here to Henderson, and they are racing hard at the moment. Dyson again choosing that low line. He seems to be happy there rather than slightly higher up at the moment, so that seems to be his preferred line each lap. Although he will tend to stick slightly higher through 1 and 2. So we'll see how that unfolds. Meanwhile, Pearson is getting a good run now on that low line with Ruben Phelps just behind him. And, well, plenty at stake here and plenty to offer as Pearson gets a little bit of a wobble on the exit. Doesn't lose too much pace as he's really closing in on Toby Stent. Goes for a lunge down the inside. Stent should have a better run off the corner here. Pearson's going to try and make the move. Not enough room this time round. Pearson keeps it down a little bit lower. Stent keeping that high line open for himself.
you see Pearson really turn in quite early and try and get back down on that low line to run that mid corner and do what he's just done, get the run out and run back up to the wall. So now we have Pearson in front of Stent, but the SRM boys of Phelps, Urquhart and Henderson are trying to link up there. But we've got one DPR, Andrew Dyson, in there trying to spoil it for him.
As Jai Schultz just has a little bit of a moment up ahead as well. Just gets a little bit sideways. Manages to save the car, but it's lost him a lot of momentum, and that's given Dave Douglas the opportunity to make the run in front of him at the moment. So it's all chop and change at the moment. We're seeing some great racing out here at Homestead at the moment.
Just checking on the other person that's still in the chase here is Matty Ray. He's sitting down in 11th. Car's nice and straight, looks nice and easy, just taking his time. We know what Matty Ray's like. He likes to sit there towards the back until we get 3/4 of the race. Then keep an eye on him coming forward if he can stay out of other people's problems.
Yeah, that's the thing, is he's just keeping it calm back there at the moment, letting these guys race hard up the front, which they are doing. As we see Phelps now making a move, the 62 just moving out the way, and Pearson going to lose a position here to the 06 of Ruben Phelps, who slides up in front of him. Pearson goes back underneath him on the exit off the corner down the front straight. Great bit of driving there from Pearson, trying to save that spot. Has he done it? Well, we'll find out at the end of this lap, I'd say, because they are going to be side by side for this back straight at the moment, which they are, and Phelps manages to get the car ahead safely to the point where he can move up in front.
Yeah, it looks like these three are going to be the early runners that are really going to want to battle. Oh, look, Urclio in the background there gets very loose and just touches the wall. Very lucky there not to have that break free and end up with his teammate in the side of him.
Yeah, these cars are not looking too stable tonight. We've seen a lot of people having that rear brake loose. Just as Urquhart had that, Pearson had it at the same moment, and that's dropped him a couple of places as well. So these cars are not sticking to the track like glue tonight, and they are looking very difficult to drive at the moment, Mark.
Yeah, but this place is like that, Carl. You know, you get some heat in those tyres, and the heat in this track, just seems to retain the heat and really draw the heat into the track and get hot. And we've seen right throughout the season that once those rear tyres get hot in these cars, they definitely do not like it.
It's a very different car to drive compared to the sort of the last generation of cars, really. And those low profile tyres, they can be really tricky to get the heat out of. You know, in a more standard lower profile tyre, high profile tyre, you sort of can get the heat out of them after a couple of laps of just careful driving. These things, they just seem to keep it in there for lap after lap after lap, and you're almost driving around on ice for some of the lap. It is a very tricky car to get used to, especially if you're more used to the sort of last generation cars, or you sort of predominantly race the Xfinity or the truck cars.
Yeah, and we just seen a shot there of our mate Derek Jacobs on the bringing up the rear of the field. Good to see our American friend out there again.
Having a solid run at the moment, just keeping himself out of trouble. He's ahead of Noddy Tompkins as well, who had to come down the lane to get a couple of things just tweaked. So he's just come back out, Noddy. He is a lap down, but he's going to be battling it hard with Derek for this race, I'm sure. The battle at the back of the pack, while we've got the fighting at the front of the pack as well, which is what we like to see. We like to see fighting all the way through the field.
And really this year we have seen that right from that Daytona at the start of the season, right throughout even our road courses. There's been some great battles, and these guys have really put on some great racing throughout the year, and I would say it's going to continue for the last 3 races of the season too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a constant in the series, is the closeness of the fighting, and we've seen that this year with that slightly more open setup that we run in the Cup Series, just where they all start on the same setup, but they can tweak it as the race goes on.
Yeah, but really, Carl, we've been spoilt right over the 3, like the trucks and the Xfinity cars. The whole lot of the series this year has been great battles, and really, guys, anyone out there thinking about getting into the racing, and this is the place where you really want to be. and head over to the web page and check it all out and get on track.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's been a lot of green flag running this week as well, in the free ANZCAR series, but throughout as well, over in the Warriors as well, Mark, from Super Speedway on the weekend. There's so many green flag laps recently, and it's what we like to see is these long green flag periods where we sort of get this really good racing coming on, and it really rewards those drivers that are able to look after their cars and really just not push too hard. And also the ones that could carry the speed, of course. But it's nice to see the big long green flag run periods because it adds a lot more strategic value to the race as well. So makes things very, very difficult when you have those big long green flag runs, as well as making it a little bit more physical when you're driving the cars as well, because you don't get that little rest period that you do under a caution where you can stretch your hands, take a drink, and just relax for a couple of laps and not have to run at full pace.
Yeah, definitely. Like we've seen the numbers drop off as the season goes on, but that's been right throughout, even the road racing guys. Now that the COVID's over and we're all outside doing again, but as you said, Carl, the green flag runs have been. I think the best we've done is 120 laps, or some of them have even been green flag races all the way. And we've got a race definitely going on here at the moment with Ruben and Phelps and Pearson. Pearson's looking at getting back under. Ruben just got a little bit loose coming out of that last turn, and Pearson's been able to take the lead. So we'll see what Phelps now has for Pearson.
Yeah, Phelps had a fairly nice lead there, but it's just started to lose a little bit of time. He's taking that slightly tighter line, and I wonder if that's starting to affect him a little bit. He's just losing a little bit of that pace. And look who's coming back at them, Toby Stent, the man that's been running that high line all race long. It's not traditionally the fastest way around the high line because you have to go a little bit further around the track, of course. You're adding a little bit of extra track to your run. But it can be a little bit softer on the tyres sometimes. It can put a little bit less wear on the right rear tyres, things like that, and just give you a better long run pace. And that seems to be the thinking of a lot of drivers at the moment. And looking back throughout the field, everybody's taking that up at the moment as well. They're sort of noticing what Toby Stent's doing, and they're all jumping on the bandwagon now of running that slightly higher line.
Yeah, definitely. And these three have started to break away now over the rest of the field.
Oh, as Lachlan has a big slide there coming out of two. He saves the car, but he has been having a couple of moments these last few laps, and I wonder if he's got a bit too much heat in those tyres. Let's see the replay here of the 42. And just coming through the corner, and it just gets a little bit tail happy, and he just saves the slide there. Has to take a lot of the runoff. That's why we have that nice big concrete patch on the straight there, just to let the cars run off there and just get themselves settled back in for the race. That's dropped him down to 7th position, but he has managed to keep the car pointing in the right direction. As we see Dyson and Henderson having a good battle out on track at the moment as well, as Dyson looks to make the move on Henderson, who has got some really good pace here tonight. He is flying and one of the faster SRM cars at the moment. Good to see from the 81, Brenton Henderson. Again, one of those drivers that has been absolutely dialing it in recently. Just up ahead, Toby Stent, Ruben Phelps having a little battle as Toby Stent makes the move and gets himself ahead of Phelps and starts to press along nicely. And I've just noticed Phelps is sort of taking Stent's line now. He's decided, yeah, okay, I think that's a better line option at the moment. So they're all trying to figure out what's the quickest line, what's the best line to run. Some drivers are changing them every couple of laps. Other drivers are sticking to the plan, like Toby Stent, who's been running that line all race long. So it's going to be interesting to see who gets the better payoff there.
Yeah, and again, we see Ruben now drop back down to the low line. Maybe he feels that some of that heat's gone out of those tyres and he can start running that low line again. but come out of the turn straight back up onto the wall and into the stream of Toby.
It's one of the things that can catch you out as a driver as well. I find is sort of switching your lines. You try a different line and it doesn't always pay off for you because you've got to drive the car differently, and because you've worn the tyres differently to the guy that's trying that different line, you can find yourself in a bit of a predicament if you all of a sudden change the direction of your lines. And that could be what's affecting Ruben Phelps at the moment, because he's lost a lot of pace here, but he seems to be switching back to his sort of preferred lines now, and that's starting to help him get back up there.
I'm just looking at the speed. Mid corner, Toby's at 10 mile quicker than Phelps. So I think Ruben's tyres may be hurting just that little bit. Again, there we see Ruben down at 147 miles an hour. And dude, please forgive me, I've got mine set on miles. So I am a little bit strange. Still working in the old miles and inches and everything, so
A little bit strange. Selling yourself short there, Mark.
okay, a lot strange.
That's better.
But we just checking again. Stent is 10 mile an hour quicker than Phelps through those turns on mid turn.
Yeah, and you can see that sort of that pace difference coming into effect as the time goes on, because they're just edging out a little bit every lap, moving up a little bit further. So it seems like that high line is working better in this car tonight, and that seems to be the way to go. Of course, this car has a little bit more downforce, and it has that underfloor diffuser as well, which sticks it to the ground a little bit more. In some of the other series, things like the Xfinity car or the truck, for instance, you tend to run the mid to low line here for a slightly better run. But in this car, the high line is absolutely a really good line to run. And they are really making it work at the moment. Dave Douglas is always... Brenton Henderson has a moment just in front of Douglas there. Just saves the car, similar to what we saw with Oakrio before. I was just about to say, Dave Douglas is starting to work his way forwards again now as well. So, like you were saying, Mark, he's just taking it easy in the early stages, but now he's starting to speed up and close the gaps. As Oakrio goes round in the background, does he save it? I don't think so. He does just about get that car in. Let's look at the replay on that one, because that was a big slide. I thought he was going nose first into the wall when I first saw that. Back end steps out, going through the corner. He has a massive slide, tags the wall on the high line, full off wheels, just sliding, hits the wall heavily on the left side. That's going to require some serious repairs, I think. But I was expecting that car to be facing the wrong direction and needing to come into pit, needing a caution flag to get that car out of the lane, out of the road. So a good job from Oakrio there just to save it. Meanwhile, we've got up the front, Dyson making a move on Ruben Phelps, and Jai Schultz in pit lane.
The left front of Ukrio's car there looked like it had a bit of a severe toe in as well from that incident.
Yeah, Matt. Sorry, Carl. I was just going to say, Matt, you're 100% right. That left front is facing the right hand side of the car. So that tyre, that left front is definitely cooked.
Yeah, shame for Oakrio. He's had some really good runs in this season, but a couple of little mistakes and a couple of little moments creeping in the races have just caught him out. And unfortunately, once again, another little moment's just caught him out here after having some really good speed. So Jai Schultz has decided to come in the lane after about 30 odd laps. So he has he's decided to bring it in and cut the race into sort of halves here. So he's trying something a little bit different, and we've seen that from Jai in the past. Now, don't think anybody can make it home here on just one more stop. So they're all going to have to make two more stops. But a few people will be sort of hoping for a caution, I imagine.
Yeah, I think there'll be a few people that definitely be looking for a caution, just to take the pressure off the decisions, because guys out here at the moment will definitely not wanting to be giving up the spots. And I can tell you, Lachlan Urquio has that car repaired and back out.
Good job there by the Mobile Breaker Mechanical SRM team to get that car back out on track and in action, because that was some fairly heavy damage. So I imagine quite a bit of the old 100 mph tape has gone around the steering arm and got that thing back out on track. Meanwhile,
that wheel looks like it's still towing in though. He's going to chew through that left front tyre, I think.
Yeah, it's definitely not 100%, Matt. You're right there. It's definitely it's still got a toe in.
So he's going to have a bit of a battle driving that for the rest of the race.
Yeah, that's not the ideal position for that wheel. Although we do know some people like to run some serious toe on their cars and some serious camber. So, but yeah, that's going to hurt it.
Carl, I don't think I've ever seen a wheel on with that much stagger or camber last many laps.
No, it looks a little bit like a qualifying setup, doesn't it?
Yes.
Phil Otto's been in the lane as well, so he's done his pit stop. So he made his first pit stop, and that's interesting because that was about 56 laps he made it on a tank. So I imagine that's a full run of fuel for Phil Otto, which means that everybody's going to have to come in again, and they're going to need at least one more stop from here. So it's going to be a little bit of a battle of splash and dash, or two proper stops here to get them to the end of this race. And I wonder what people are going to try. So if we don't have a caution, touch wood, fingers crossed we won't, because this is going to make it an intriguing race to the end. As Toby Stent and Andrew Dyson get back to battling on track at the moment, as Dyson started coming alive here, gives Stent a little bit of a push there. I'd say that's from earlier, because we saw Toby give Dyson a little bit of a run, a little bit of a bump and run earlier in this race, and Dyson just returning the favour there for him. Gets the rear a little bit loose for Toby, and he is really pushing hard at the moment. This is fun stuff at the front.
It definitely is. I just listening to the race radio, and they're both having a bit of a laugh over that. So all good in racing.
Absolutely. Look, a little bit of bump and run is not a bad thing in stock car racing. It's a contact sport for a reason. Riley Curtis has come into the lane as well, so he's made his stop and going to be coming back out as well, and seeing where he can get in this race. The one I'm interested in is Jai Schultz, because he's going to get a huge jump over the field with his stop. So he's going to get a huge undercut here. If everybody needs to make... everybody's going to need to make at least two more stops from here. They're not going to be able to make it to the end on fuel. So Jai's banking on his two-stop strategy working out better. And from what I can see at the moment, it may just pay off. So be interesting to see how this one unfolds. So we'll see how that one pans out as Toby Stent's pulling it into the lane. So Pearson and Stent both pitting in on this lap. They made it 42 laps on this stint. Dyson, a little bit longer. So is Phelps and Dave Douglas. So this is where we're starting to see some strategy play off, as we've got 69 laps remaining here at Homestead, Miami.
So if they're only getting 40 odd laps to a tank, that means they've definitely got another stop. And who's going to be able to stretch that fuel the longest?
Well, as I say, we saw Phil Otto make it about 54 laps on a tank, and that was with a caution period. Remember, he stayed out, didn't make a stop where everybody else did. So I reckon about the maximum in a tank is about 50 odd laps at full green flag running. So will we see some of these guys stick it out as long as possible, just hoping for a caution, or hoping that they can claw the time back in their next set of pit stops?
So I'm going to say lap 80 is the magic number where you can get to and get home.
Yeah. As Dyson pulls it into the lane. And that's going to give Ryan Jones the lead of this race. Maddie Ray sticking it out as well. And Maddie Ray is going to be just spewing and cursing the name Ryan Jones at the moment because he has stuck it out as well. So Maddie Ray won't get that bonus point for a lap led, which I'm sure he is looking for at the moment.
Well, every point for Maddie can get is a bonus for him.
Yeah, it's crucial at the moment because he is in a knife fight with Andrew Dyson. So Jones and Maddie Ray sticking it out a bit longer here. So it's Brad Fenley and Ben Henker as well. So we are seeing a few different strategies play out. And this is what I love about motorsport, is the different strategies at play. Seeing different strategies on a racetrack is what I tune into motorsport for, because seeing everybody do the same strategy in a race is the most boring thing possible. So letting us see some different ones play out is exactly what we need in a race like this. And this could really shake things up for the last few laps of this race. As I said, keep an eye on people like Jai Schultz, because he is just slotted in behind Ruben Phelps. So he's not managed to clear the front runners, but he has jumped himself a whole heap of positions. But he's on old tyres now. He's still going to have some pace in there, but it's not going to be quite as good as the leaders.
But the important thing too, Carl, is that we've got a few cars a lap down, and Joy Schultz is at the top of that list.
As Ryan Jones pits in, and that gives Maddie Ray the lead of the race, and that all-important bonus point for his run in the playoff period. So, yeah, there's so many things going on here, Mark. And Maddie Ray's car is not looking healthy out there. Those rear tyres are not looking happy.
No, definitely not. And we with Ryan coming back into the pits, or going into the pits there, that's allowed Jai Schultz to pick his lap back up. So, and that's now moved him up into 8th position. So maybe, as you said, Carl, he may be the one that's looking the prettiest for the race here with that alternate strategy.
Yeah, it's just how it plays out in the next stage. So there's just so many little things here that can change the outcome of the race. Maddie Ray looking to take it till the tank is empty, the same as Brad Fenley, I'd suggest. Those two just sticking it out as long as possible, just in case there is that last-minute caution. But the other thing that does is it means they can have a quicker stop at the end of this run. They're not going to be able to make it to sort of get there just with one more stop, but they are going to be able to have a shorter stop at the end of the race. They could just have a quick splash and dash, whereas everybody else will need to come in for a full service, and that can save you about 10 seconds in lap time, which is a huge gain in a race like this. So Maddie Ray putting it in now as he gets the car slowed down. Not the easiest thing to do at Homestead. Very easy to lock the car up and have a spin. But that's going to leave Brad Fenley in the lead of the race. The Aussie Beer Motorsport car, the VB entry, leading the race, getting himself a bonus point as well, which is nice for Brad, because he's trying to get himself, he's trying to really secure himself in the top 20 in the championship this season. So he will be really, really happy with the bonus point here. He's in some good fights with some cars around him at the moment. So
I believe he's in this lap.
Yeah. He is indeed, as he gets the car slowed down and just gets it in nicely there. Nice pit stop there from nice pit entry there from Brad. But yeah, he's trying to get himself a top 20 in the championship at the moment, as Noddy Tompkins brings the car in as well. Another driver that was sticking it out for a nice long stint there. But yeah, Brad will be very happy to get a top 20 in the Cup Championship, I am sure. So Neil Pearson now, the leader of the race. And the field is spread out. So the leader is Neil Pearson, and it's Andrew Dyson in second, Toby Stent in third, Ruben Phelps in fourth, Jai Schultz fifth, sixth for Brenton Henderson, Riley Curtis seventh, Dave Douglas in eighth, ninth for Ryan Jones, Norman Clark in 10th, and Matty Ray coming out in 11th position. So this is now the crucial part of this race, is getting the car back up to speed, keeping yourself on the lead lap, and fighting it out to get through to the next set of pit stops. Now, there's a couple of different options you could do here. You could pit earlier and say pit on lap 80, as you were saying, Mark, the magic lap. Come in lap 80, 85, get the fresh tyres on, try and build up a little bit of a gap, try and build up an advantage, and then try and hold on to it for the final bit of the race. You could try and take it as long as possible here as well, and maybe make it so you catch a lucky caution. Or if you if you lose, if you sort of hold it out as long as possible, you're going to lose a little bit less time in pit lane because you only need to make a quick splash and dash. So there's a couple of different ways of thinking about this one, but you could lose time on track because your tyres could fall off the cliff. So it is really just it's really a multiple strategy call, and we won't know which is the right strategy until we get to lap 130, Mark.
Yeah, I'd probably try to split these last two sections. Well, come in now, get fuel, tyres, do probably 25 to 30 laps, and then come back in and throw a set of boots on it and top off, and away you go for that last bit. But just as you said, Carl, there's just so many different ways to play this out, and we're just not going to know who's going to have the smartest brain until lap 130.
As we'll see which strategy pays off. At the moment, Jai Schultz, he's down in 7th position. He's currently setting times about half a second slower. Those tyres have started to drop off for him, so he's going to get swallowed up by this pack. So it's not paying off quite as well as I think he was hoping for at the moment. He's not managed to really build up enough of the gap, enough of a lap time on everybody else on those fresh tyres. So it's sort of not really paying dividends at the moment. Because he came in very early. He's done about 24 laps on these tyres, whereas the cars around him have done about 12 to about 17 laps. So there's quite a bit of difference between the tyre stages in their lives there. And it's going to be interesting to see which way pays off. He might try and extend the stint a little bit here, try and go a little bit longer and try something else. But he doesn't have as much to play with now because he made that stop earlier, so he doesn't have as much wiggle room at the end of this race, and that could come to bite him if there is a late caution.
Yeah, but the one good thing though, Carl, after that round of pit stops, we now have 14 cars back on the lead lap, so that's good news too. So any one of those top 14, or as we say that, Brad Fenley goes a lap down. So the unlucky number or lucky number, 13, any one of those 13 can still win this race.
Yeah, absolutely. It's still very much got a lot to play with at the moment. And as I said, the playoff drivers are all thinking about their race and what they can do to sort of get either a victory or get the most points over the other drivers. The two that are really can relax a little bit, you've got to say, are Pearson and Phelps. They're pretty much safe at the moment, as long as they don't have any big catastrophes. Even if two more people take the wins tonight, and if some other people take wins, they should be relatively safe. The people that are very much at risk are Douglas, Matty Ray, and of course Jai Schultz. So they really need to get some good results tonight, or sort of minimum a victory.
Well, the big thing is that at the moment, Carl, we just had a change for 7th and 8th. Dave has been able to get back in front of Jai, so that's kind of a foot in the door for Dave Douglas tonight.
Yeah, that's it. Dave's main goal has got to really be finishing as close to or ahead of Dyson. That's got to be his sort of main main attack at the moment, and Maddie Ray as well. That's a sort of if he can finish ahead of Maddie Ray and Dyson, that would be perfect positioning for him in the playoff race. If he can beat Maddie Ray, then that's good. That takes a bit of pressure off of him. Because as we say, unfortunately for Joey Schultz, his playoffs are pretty much over and done with unless he gets a victory.
Yeah, that comes extending from last week, not being able to race for whatever reason. It's really put him in a situation of, yes, I must win this race tonight.
Yeah, it makes it very tricky in iRacing and in sim racing championships. The commitment needed to be here for these races, and for drivers, it very much is a long old season that can really play havoc with your whole social life and everything else, because especially if you're trying to run the championship, it does require an enormous amount of commitment to make it here week in and week out, and the practice and the stress that goes with it as well. We know that it does play on people's minds as well, so it is not an easy thing to do. As we see Neil Pearson fly past there, Derek Jacobs, who is just logging laps at the moment, he's just taking it easy out there, and Phil Otto, as there's a little moment between Maddie Ray and Norman Clark out on track, but no harm, no foul for those two. So just have a close shave between the two cars as they come pounding around. So we are just looking at the field at the moment, and Dave Douglas, he is battling it out at the moment. He's fighting between Ryan Jones and Riley Curtis at the moment, but he's up there in 7th position. Not a bad night for the casting couch entry, who is just taking it easy at the moment. It's been a long season for Dave, and a fairly consistent one for him as well, but no wins so far, and he would dearly love to get a victory underneath his belt. Because he has put in a lot of time and effort this season, and being one of the few drivers out there running a privateer entry, you got to say, it does make it a lot harder.
Yeah, he's got no one to bounce any setups off. He has to do it all himself. Where the bigger teams like DPR and SRM, they can bounce the ideas off each other, try different setups. So that's a big advantage for them.
Absolutely, it's such it is a big thing to have that little bit of help when you're running in a race where setups are needed, and when you're changing setups as well. I did my first open setup race on Friday night with the Godfather himself, Mr. Edward Foster, in fact, and luckily I had him running with me, so it was nice to bounce ideas off of him in the race and get a few ideas of what to do, what not to do, and sort of tweak a few things here and there, and just that little bit of extra work that we could do with each other really helped us out during the race period. As Ryan Jones's car is looking really, really unstable at the moment. I've just watched it for the last couple of laps, and the back end is really kicking out on him at the moment. Last few laps, the rear has just been really, really bucking like an angry government mule mark.
Sorry, Carl, my mic just decided to drop out then. I've had one of those nights.
It's been one of those nights. It's all right. He's closing in on Brenton Henderson, though.
I think we should go back and restart the night. Start afresh.
Yeah, just restart the season. I think that's fair. We could start it all over again.
Yeah, no.
I can hear Matt having an existential crisis in my headphones as we speak about that.
I'd be ducking because I think there's something coming across the ocean towards your house.
Matty Ray making moves as well. He's getting his speed on now. Those fresher tyres helping him out in this part of the race. Of course, he was the last car, one of the last cars to stop, and that is really giving him some good speed at the moment. And he is working his way back up through the field and closing in on Riley Curtis, actually. So he is in a good position at the moment and getting himself in some good spots. But he has to be careful not to lose too much time because, well, he's not that far ahead of Neil Pearson. So he's got to really desperately stay a lap ahead at the moment. He cannot afford to lose a lap. So it's all go for Mr. Sheen, Mr. Matty Ray in the SRM team, as Jai Schultz has decided it's time for his pit stop. So 90 laps into the race, 40 to go. Jai Schultz comes in for his final stop. Now, will this work out better for him this time around? Will he be able to build up a bit of a gap from here and get himself ahead of some of the other cars? Well, the 27 is going to be hoping so for sure. A lot of cars are starting to get a little bit kicky as well. So the tyres are starting to get a little bit worn. Last time around, I sort of saw Neil Pearson's back end really stepping out as Matty Ray makes a move on Riley Curtis. They go 3 wide. Through the middle goes Matty Ray and makes the move up into 8th position. As I think that might have been Ben Henker just on the inside, who has gone a lap down but has got some good pace back in that car in the Cobalt Racing entry. And he's trying to work his way back up through the field as well, try and close in a bit towards his teammate Shane Bowen. So crucially for Jai, he has come out just behind Neil Pearson. So he will want to try and get at least 1 lap back as soon as possible, but he has dropped down 2 laps from that stop. So he needs to get that lap back as soon as possible and try and get himself on the lead lap, just in case there is that caution flag flying.
Yeah, or at least get back into the lucky dog's position.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really important spot to be in. I mean, if he can get himself back on the at least 1 lap down, then he should be able to get his. He should be able to get the lap back at least if everybody come down the pit lane, just by getting the wave around. So that will give him at least a little bit of wiggle room. But it's going to be a little bit tense in that car for the next few laps until he gets right back on that lead lap. Ryan Jones is in the pit lane, same as Norman Clark. So we're starting to see these final stops happening now. People are not wanting to wait until they're not wanting to go too far because they want to take advantage of those fresh tyres, as Jai Schultz just gives the wall a little bit of a rub there. That's not what he needs. He wants to try and get that car as fast as possible without any touching of the wall. So he is full on pace at the moment. He is going absolutely for it. Foot to the floor as Neil Pearson continues on out there in the lead at the moment. Riley Curtis into the lane this time round. So who is going to be the last person to come into the lane, I wonder? And, well, when will we see all the pit stops happen?
You've got to say within the next 10 laps, you would imagine that everyone would be down pit lane and close that last 25 laps or 20 laps off with fresh tyres and fuel to see us through to the end and overtime if we need it.
Yeah, that's it. You want to have a little bit left just in case there is that green-white checker. I mean, what this does do, though, is because everybody knows they couldn't make it to the end, they could push a little bit harder on those tyres and not have to nurse the tyres as much as they did in the first couple of stints. And when you know that you can push a bit harder, you do push a bit harder. You sort of go a bit faster and you chew up the tyres a bit quicker, things like that. So, you know, that's an important thing to know. You've got that ability and know you've got time to do it as well. You've got to have the time to use up those tyres, though. There's no point in coming in with 5 laps to go and coming out on cold tyres and then just falling back and not being able to use that rubber to its advantage. You've got to make sure you come in with enough laps to chew those tyres up and use all the pace you can in the car.
Yeah, just looking down now. So Pearson and Dyson are pretty safe. Ruben Phelps would be safe. Dave Douglas and Matty Ray, that's a battle there that may go into next week. But unless
Mark, you have to remember that Dyson is 4 points down on Dave Douglas. So
that's right, you too.
Yeah, so he needs to finish a fair few places ahead of Dave, or he needs to get that victory. He is going to be one of those cars that's not safe at the moment. So, the real ones that are going to be it's crucial for them is Douglas, Matty Ray, and Dyson. Those are the 3 that really need to get those crucial positions. Jai Schultz needs to get a victory because that's his only chance of getting through. So
yeah, and it's not looking good for Jai, but we've still got 31 laps to go. So anything is still possible. I do know that you can win a race from a lap down with 30 laps to go.
Absolutely, it's not over until the fat lady sings, and we still got a few laps for that to happen, and another race to go as well. Dave Douglas into the lane. Of course, we're off to Martinsville next time out, and that always throws up a bit of a challenge for the drivers, and that could be a good opportunity for some of these guys to get that final win. So Douglas has come in with 30 laps to go, so he is splitting this stint in 2 pretty much, and he's going to try and take advantage of those fresh tyres. When will the leaders come in? Well, I can tell you Pearson is in this lap. So Neil Pearson has pulled it in to the lane. Dyson has stayed out on track. And of course, the big fly in the ointment could be Toby Stent for the race win, because he has nothing to lose here tonight. He is just out there to take that victory, to try and take a good position in this race, of course. He would have been in the playoffs had it not been for some family circumstances, which we can say luckily have come through well for him. And we wish him all the best, and the little one as well. But tonight he is out there just for trying to get that victory under his belt. So Dyson is into the lane. Stent keeps it out a little bit longer. And, if I'm Toby Stent, I might try and keep it out just in case there's that late caution.
Yeah, definitely. And that'll be a chance for us to publicly congratulate him too on the birth of the little one, mate. Because I don't think we've had a chance since the little one's been born to have a chat with him.
That's it. He's been busy overseas and looking after his wife and his little one and getting them through.
It's a little bit loose there out of turn 4 on the outside of Brad Fenley.
Yeah, he is going for it at the moment, and he is not holding back on those older tyres as well. And I just get the feeling he might be the one to stick it out there for a bit longer. Matty Ray is in the lane, so he's not going to go any longer than 34 laps on those tyres. He was one of the drivers that stayed out the longest on the first stint. This time round, though, he's come in a little bit earlier than some, so he's going to get those fresh tyres to try and stop him losing too much time to those guys around him. Ruben Phelps is in the lane as well. So we've got all the pit stops happening. Brad Fenley as well. He could be another driver that puts a bit of a... He could be another driver that absolutely can be a fly in the ointment tonight, because if he sticks it out there, he is on the lead lap at the moment, but he's also on the lead lap as a car that's out there as Toby Stent pulls it into the lane. So Brad Fenley could really upset a couple of people's races tonight if we get a late caution.
Yeah, definitely. Matty Ray's back out on track, and he's been able to stay on the lead lap. No, he's just dropped a lap down. So we've only got 6 cars on the lead lap at the moment until all these service cycles are done, and then we'll see where we're at. And it'll be a very tough last 20 laps, I'd say.
Yeah, so we should have 11 cars on the lead lap now. Toby Stent has come into the lane. Neil Pearson is in the lead, just ahead of Andrew Dyson at the moment. And, well, Toby Stent is going to be a little bit further behind. So he's going to be trying his best to claw his way back up. But I think he's just going to be settling for a podium now, with Dyson and Pearson having the lead they have. But at the moment, it's Brad Fenley up in P3, looking good for a podium. Of course, he does need to come down the lane again. But if we get a caution here, he is in the prime position to take advantage of that.
Most definitely is.
Brad's going to be absolutely delighted he's getting all this airtime tonight. It's worked out well for him.
Well, you see what happens when you come up to the booth and you have a little chat with us, and the following week you get all the airtime.
Exactly. It's the luck of the booth helping him out tonight. That's given him this good run after the devastation of last week. It is a much better week's racing for Brad Finley, and I'm sure he's going to be happy with that. Of course, Mr. Finoli having a good run out on track at the moment, and as I said, a late caution could really change his race tonight.
Yeah, it definitely could. But what I was going to say is, I know next week, I know that there's going to be a few cars with some different paintworks on, as Martinsville's the closest race to Halloween that we get. So I do know that there is a few drivers that are looking at putting a scare into us, Carl.
You've got to spook up that paint job, ladies and gentlemen. It's an important thing. We like to see a good spook on the paint job. So looking forward to that one. I'm always excited to see the special paint jobs for Halloween. And always nice to see. And reminds me I've got to finalise my setups as well. So some work to be done in the off hours when I get to it. At the moment, up front, as gap is closing for the lead between Dyson and Pearson, the two DPR teammates, both of them wanting to get this championship, of course. Neil Pearson, he is in a good spot at the moment. He's one of those drivers that's going, I'm pretty happy at the moment. He's leading on the points. He is in a good position at the moment. But he would want a victory just to make sure it was absolutely secure. And he would want to deny Dyson that victory as well, just to make sure that he is fully secure into the chase, into the playoffs, I should say. So this will be a fight between the two teammates, I am sure.
Oh, I have no doubt, because we've seen both of these guys come together through the season, and some not so good rubbing has happened between them, and unfortunately we've seen Phil around once, and Dyson around also.
Yeah, it's been. It's the thing when you're fighting your teammate. The person you got to beat first in any motor race is your teammate, and these two have been battling tooth and nail. It's Dyson has got the win advantage this season, but Pearson has had the scoring advantage in the playoffs. So it's really close between these two, and I am sure that they will not want to give each other an inch into the final race towards Phoenix, because they want to take the championship. Both of these guys want to win the championship. Neil Pearson wants to take his first ANZCAR championship, ANZCAR Cup championship, of course. Andrew Dyson wants to defend his cup title. So it is absolutely on between these two. And, of course, asserting dominance in the DPR team is of course, a crucial aspect between the two of them. As they're coming up to Matty Ray now, and Matty Ray is desperately not wanting to lose this lap. He's battling it out with Riley Curtis on track at the moment. So this is a fight for position and also a fight for the lead lap. So it does not have to give way. He can fight for that position. He can fight to stay on the lead lap. There is no blue flags in oval racing for that reason. And this is going to slow Pearson up and allow Dyson to close the gap because this battle on track is going to just choke him up a little bit. And you can see Dyson closing now for the lead of the race. So we've got a driver up ahead fighting to stay on the lead lap. We've got drivers fighting to hold their position as well. Riley Curtis doesn't want to drop out of the top 10. He wants to try and keep it up there. He's lost that spot to Matty Ray. Matty Ray is trying to stay on the lead lap, but can't quite do it because he's fighting with Neil Pearson. Remember last week as well, Matty Ray and Andrew Dyson both made contact, so that's why they're in the predicament they're in at the moment. We saw Andrew Dyson making contact into the back of Matty Ray, so there's going to be that little bit of a little bit of memory for Matty Ray there as well. So this is absolutely on at the moment.
Yeah, Pearson's been able to make the move here. I think he'll make this one stick.
Matty Ray's not letting it stay. He's going to try for the up and under here. He's going to try and make the move, and just tries to do it. And they are racing 3 wide here as they go on to the straightest. Matty Ray's back end steps out. He saves the car just about, but that's going to drop him down a lap, and that's going to take him out of this little battle. Neil Pearson now has to fight Andrew Dyson, who is within a 0.3 of a second now. So this is absolutely on as well. And Matty Ray is going to be trying to come back at these guys, I am sure.
Yeah, definitely will. He'll take a couple of laps to let that heat get out of those rear tyres, because that slide would not have helped those tyres.
No, Matty Ray's on slightly fresher tyres as well here, but this is fully on now between these guys, and the race is, well, it's coming alive here between all of these drivers up the front of the field. This is what we like to see, as I said, fighting at the top. A little bit further down the field, Ryan Jones is closing on Brad Fenley, who has stayed out, of course. He's not yet made his pit stop. He'll have to come in the lane in the next 4 or so laps. As Matty Ray just collects the wall there. Doesn't lose too much time, but he is absolutely hustling that car along as he gives that wall a nice little rub and really tries to keep up with the front two. But he's struggling as Neil Pearson gets really loose going through the mid of the corner. The back end stepped out. That's lost him a lot of time to Dyson. The next 12 laps, I feel like, are going to be fireworks up here at the front of the field.
Yeah, definitely are. And I've just gone back and checked. There's 2-second gap between Stent and Phelps. So at the moment, that has come down a second.
Mark, we got the move for the lead of the race here as Dyson makes a lunge on Neil Pearson, and he's moving up to the front of the field. He's got the low line. He's going to swing it up in front of Pearson. Doesn't have the room. Pearson's able to hold him off at the moment. They are very much fighting hard here now as Neil Pearson is trying to hold off Andrew Dyson and trying to keep that car ahead at the moment. But the rear tyres of Pearson are not looking as good as those on Dyson. Every time I see Pearson's car through the mid-corner, back end stepping out on him, he's having to drift the car around the corner, and it is getting ever so closer to that car going around on him. He's able to keep the positioning though. He's able to keep the speed up, but it is not easy at all as they are side by side again for another lap here. They are racing as hard as possible, and the longer Pearson keeps Dyson on that tighter low line, the quicker Dyson's tyres heat up as well, and he'll start to struggle. So Pearson is going to be trying desperately to defend this line from Andrew Dyson, and Dyson has to settle, pulls in behind Pearson here for a couple of moments. Will he do it for a lap or two? No, he's going for the attack again. Tries to get that low line again, takes a wider entry to the corner, but again can't make it through the corner and can't swing up in front of Pearson. That's the crucial thing that's stopping the move from happening. As we got 9 laps remaining, Brad Fenley's in the lane, so he's making his stop. The late caution didn't come for him, unfortunately. That's going to drop him outside of the top 10, but a good run nonetheless. But up the front, that is the action at the moment as Pearson Dyson, round number 2, is about to go on, I reckon. Pearson has just got Dyson on his tail now. Dyson's sitting up there and just letting those tyres get a little bit of breathing room. as Neil Pearson just keeps on defending and keeping that car in a position to stop Dyson from making a lunge. But they are really going at it at the moment. As once again, Dyson's just looking to make a move, Mark.
Yeah, I was just clicking on Ruben's dent, but again, Dyson dives to the inside run. He may have it done this time. Can he get up there in front of Pearson? Very, very close.
That was absolutely millimeters in that one, and that would have been the crew chief saying, "Yep, you're clear." Dyson having a quick look to his left, to his right-hand side, and going, "Nope, that's not clear at all. I'm not going to take that risk," because they just come through a puff of smoke in front of them, which I think may have been from possibly just having a look there. I don't see who that was from, unfortunately. Might have been from Lachlan Urquhart, actually, as Lockie's had a big moment going out of pit lane, still with that extremely cambered front wheel. And here it comes, big chop up in front of Pearson, and Dyson just gets up there, but Pearson holding on well. Pearson goes back to the low line now. Now Pearson's going on the attack as that little half spin caught him out, but Dyson has a moment through the corner as well, and that's cost him position. They both slided out of turn one. This is full-on drift racing out of turn one at the moment between the two DPR cars.
Yeah, I know what's going through the head of that SRM car of Matty Ray. Matty be sitting there and saying, "Go on, please take each other out." So it's definitely no holds bar here between the two DPR cars, and Dyson again looking for the attack, but we're now coming up on the back of Henderson and Douglas. So will they come into play?
Dyson's got a good run this time round, and Henderson's holding up on that high line with Douglas, and this could be the opportunity that Dyson needs. He's got a nice car length in front of them as it gets so close. There, is that going to go 3 wide down the corner, because Henderson is racing Douglas at the moment, and they are entitled to race as hard as they want. They do not have to yield or give way to these guys. Douglas, of course, Pearson has a big moment coming out of 4 there. Loses the rear, and that's going to give Dyson the lead.
Yeah, I think that may be it with 3 to go. Although they are surrounded by guys that are racing each other too. So, as you said, Carl, they're entitled to race each other.
And just behind them is Matty Ray, who's closing on Dave Douglas as well. And that's crucial for the playoff points as well. So if Matty Ray can beat Dave Douglas here, that will be very important, as it gets very close with 2 to go. Henderson is really wanting to defend his lap at the moment as well. And Pearson, he's just run out of steam, you've got to say. Dyson's sitting good. And that's probably that for the battle for the lead. That sort of half spin for Pearson going through the corner cost us that real run to the line, although Pearson is not giving up at all, as they are still going for it. And all it takes is a moment for Dyson to have a bit of a slide, which he does, but so does Pearson. Matty Ray makes the move on Douglas. That's crucial. White flag out. Final lap here. And it is on between these guys. Dave Douglas, Matty Ray fighting hard side by side with Brenton Henderson. 3 wide for those cars at the moment. Right behind the leaders. Dave Douglas and Matty Ray almost make contact. They just squeeze through. Matty Ray's just got ahead. Dyson in the lead. It looks like Dyson's going to take the victory here. All he has to do is make it round this final corner, and he does that. And it's going to be Dyson taking the lead ahead of Pearson. And the 2 DPR cars cross the line. Brenton Henderson took the points ahead of Matty Ray. Dave Douglas dropped behind Matty Ray crucially. Toby Stent is going to come home in 3rd position for a podium for position on his return. Ruben Phelps will come home in 4th, with Ryan Jones in 5th.
Great racing right to the checkered flag. Yeah, it's pretty good now that Dyson. You'd have to say Dyson's pretty safe now that he's taking this race win.
Even so, it's not going to be that. Oh yeah, Dyson's safe. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah,
because he's taking the win. Yeah, sorry, I was looking at points. Yeah.
So the real race now is between Douglas and Raymond. It's going to make it very interesting next week at Martinsville.
Yeah, that is it. It's going to be Douglas versus Raymond for that final spot. Unless Jai Schultz can take that victory, then it is going to be down between those two. But Andrew Dyson, he was in the position where he needed to take a victory tonight, and well, he has done that. So he is safe and secure into the final 4 at Phoenix. So Andrew Dyson will be able to defend his title at Phoenix. But it's going to be the question, who's going to come through to that final spot? Will it be Douglas? Will it be Matty Ray? That's going to be the close battle. It's looking good for Douglas. He had a 9-point lead over Matty Ray coming into this race, but it would have closed up with Matty Ray taking that position at the end. So it's going to be close between those two. Head on over to the ANZCAR Facebook page to get the full results and details when they pop up, and you'll be able to find out exactly who is sitting in and out of the chase. But for tonight's race, it is Andrew Dyson taking victory here tonight at Homestead, Miami. Neil Pearson comes home 2nd for the DPR team. Toby Stent brings it home 3rd for Natari. Good to see him back in the race. Ruben Phelps up in 4th position with Ryan Jones in 5th. 6th position, Brenton Henderson for SRM, the top SRM machine tonight. Great job from Henderson. Matty Ray comes home in 7th, ahead of Dave Douglas, Riley Curtis, and Norman Clark, rounding out our top 10 tonight. 11th position was Shane Bowen for Cobart Racing, with Phil Otto having a good run tonight in 12th. Jai Schultz comes back to the racing in 13th position, unfortunately, and unlucky for him. Brad Fenley, solid run tonight. He's going to be happy with a 14th place in the race. Ben Henke comes home in 15th with Noddy Tompkins, Lachlan Urquhart, and Derek Jacobs rounding out our field here tonight.
Again, a great race from the green flag through the checkered flag. Could have been anyone's race, and some entertaining sections through that race too, Carl.
Absolutely. Just the one caution here tonight, and even that wasn't too bad. So great to see them really fighting it hard on the green flag parts of the race as we get ready to bring up our interviews and get ready to go through our top 3 here at Homestead, Miami. We're going to start that off with the 189, the Natari car of Mr. Toby Stent. Tobes, welcome back to the booth, mate. It's been too long since we last spoke to you. Congratulations on a P3 here at Homestead.
Hey, hello, thank you. It's been too long since I've raced, to be honest. I think the last time I spoke to you was probably the last race I did. So, yeah, that's still can kind of turn left, I suppose. I didn't forget how to turn left, so that's always good.
Always a good sign. Look, rig rust not setting in tonight. That's a good sign indeed. Coming home 3rd tonight. Of course, big congratulations to you as well for everything that's been going on, and well done indeed. And we wish all the best to the little one and the family as well now.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. It's been a pretty hectic few months, which is why I haven't been able to race at all, which has sucked because I really missed racing with everyone. So yeah, to be able to jump in tonight, it just worked out that I got home from the hospital at a good time, and yeah, like here we are. It's good fun. I had a really fun race, ripped the wall the whole time, and yeah, it's good.
Absolutely. You were one of the only drivers that we saw really holding that high line all race long. You seemed pretty happy with that line tonight.
Yeah, I'm pretty simple, right? So I either like running low, following the yellow line, or I like running high and following the wall. I kind of get a bit lost when I have to run in the middle of the track, and I didn't have any time to practice. And when I did do practice in the practice server, I was really struggling for speed, like running the kind of lower line, I suppose. So I just thought I'd just stick it along the wall, and yeah, hit it a couple times, but Not too bad. And yeah, it's good fun. I really enjoy driving around the walls like that. Like Kansas is really fun too. So no, it's cool. I'm glad it worked. It wasn't fast enough to beat DPR, but I don't think you can take a few months off from sim racing and ever think you'll beat or even compete with DPR. So no, I'm stoked.
No, it's not the easiest thing to beat those boys, unfortunately. But tonight, you absolutely took it to them. Congratulations indeed. Great to see you back in the car, mate. And, well, it's great to see you back as well in the sim too. Hopefully, we'll see you a little bit more in the next couple of races. Only 2 more left of the season, of course. So not far to run. But hopefully, we'll see you in the car in the near future, mate.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to race next week. I've got a little bit of stuff to happen at the hospital then, but I'll hopefully be here for Phoenix. So yeah, that'll be fun. Try and yeah, just enjoy watching these guys race for the championship, and hopefully it gets a bit spicy. I was hoping when I heard Daiso took the lead at the end there through the spotter, I was hoping, come on, Pearson, send it on him, but obviously he never did. So yeah, no, it'll be cool. It'll be cool to see how it all plays out.
You'll have to watch back the broadcast to see how close it was between those two on the final 12 laps or so, because it was pretty much side by side up until those final couple of laps.
Yeah, no, they're too good for that carry on, which is a bugger. But no, it was cool. It's cool. It was good fun. Had a good time, and yeah, it's awesome.
Great stuff, Tobes. Before I let you go, though, the usual thing, the love, the shout out sponsors, people in general, go for it, mate. You've absolutely deserve it here tonight.
Yep. So shout out to obviously the Natari guys and Ed in particular. You know, obviously it's sort of been a bit of a interesting year for our whole team, I suppose, with things coming up and people not being able to race here and there and all that. And I've just got a bit going on as well. So no, just shout out to all those dudes. They're awesome. I love those guys. They're the best. And yeah, Turbo Alpha Japan, Growth Odyssey, Fully Flawed. And yeah, my little boy Tommy. Hopefully, yeah, he's gone from the what do you call it, the respirator sort of thingy to his mask today. So hopefully tomorrow he's still on his mask and he's still breathing by himself, and that'll be good news.
Mate, I was just going to say, I reckon he'd be up watching you tonight, mate.
Yeah, no, it's nah, he's I'm sure he is. It's cool that I put his name above the door, and so it's cool to be able to, you know, just. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a hard few months, and I've really missed racing and ANZCAR and stuff. So no, it's just cool to get back in it, to be honest. So, yeah, no, I couldn't be happier. It's awesome.
Absolutely great stuff to hear, and great to hear him moving on to the mask as well. Hopefully soon he'll be moving back into an Evo, and we can see little Tommy doing well.
Exactly. Thank you guys. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Thanks, Tobes. You have a great night, mate. Great to see you back, and I'm sure we'll see you back in the future, mate.
Yeah, cool. Catch you guys. Thank you.
Toby Stent there, great news to hear as well for little Tommy. And yeah, that's always what we like to hear. That's the most important thing. Next up, though, for DPR, it is the Mean Red Machine. It's the 62 of Mr. Neil Pearson. Pearson, welcome to the booth, mate. Congratulations on, well, a podium here tonight. It's P2. Probably not the place you exactly wanted. I imagine you wanted one step higher, but a very busy night for you out there tonight.
Yeah. Second's good. You know, it's a good points haul towards the top 4 at least. But you are correct. I would rather be one step up. But you know, it is what it is. And Daiso was faster at the end and managed to position his cars with those lap cars just right at the end.
Absolutely. Well, we saw the battle between yourself and Daiso towards the end, and the car looked to be a bit of a handful, is probably an understatement. That thing looked to be very sketchy indeed on the rear, especially through the mid corner.
Yeah, I think it was just more the way I was driving. I was probably picking up the throttle a bit too early, but you know, I was just having fun. I didn't really get a chance to do many practice laps this week, so you know, to be as fast as I was, I'm pretty happy with. And you know, as I said, I come away with no incidents and good points for the, you know, to make it into the final 4. So.
Yeah, absolutely. From my maths, you're pretty much safe into that final 4, which is a nice position to be in, even with somebody else getting a win in the near future. As long as you don't miss the race, I think you're pretty much absolutely a-okay. But obviously, you know, getting a win at Martinsville next time out would be a nice thing indeed, wouldn't it?
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I won there earlier on in the year, so hopefully I can back that up and get something in, and you know, then basically the top 4 go at it. It'll be, I think Phoenix is going to be a lot of fun and very hard battle between the 4 of us, whoever makes it in. So
Absolutely. I mean, look, tonight, any regrets, anything you would have done differently in that race?
Maybe made it a little bit tighter on the final stop. I did make it tighter, but I don't think I went enough. But other than that, I don't know. I mean, Daiso and I, we really pushed a lot harder in that final stint than we did in the first 2. So, we're battling pretty hard, and that was, it's all about good fun, isn't it? And just trying to race each other and get the result. So, we nearly wrecked each other once, but we managed to get through it. And I said to him, we got another Kansas on the cards here. And he goes, no. Because he's, he was down in the 4th spot and a little bit on the edge. So, he wanted the good points to get himself up there.
Yeah, absolutely. We were sort of talking about that up here in the booth. He sort of had to get some good points tonight, and well, he got the win tonight, which is that Dyson thing to do. But it was a great battle nonetheless. Congratulations tonight, Neil. Well done indeed on P2, and thank you for giving us such a fun, entertaining show towards the end of the race as well. Before I let you go, though, the usual thing, the love, the shout outs to people in general will make Dyson do the hard work.
Just you guys for the broadcast, Toblerone for being back. It's good to see him racing again. And ANZCAR for the series, and can't wait to watch the broadcast back later. So
absolutely, I think you'll enjoy those final 12 laps. Were very entertaining indeed. Well done, Neil. Congratulations. I'm sure we'll see you back in the booth in the very near future. Good luck next time out, and congratulations again for tonight.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Neil Pearson there for DPR, coming home in 2nd position tonight. And finally tonight, the orange flavour of DPR. It is the 41. It's Mr. Andrew Dyson, and he is back up here in the booth and back with a vengeance. He is up here with a victory. Dyso, welcome back. Congratulations on a very hard-fought victory here at Homestead.
Thanks, man. Hey, guys. How you going?
Going well. Yeah, a little bit spent after those final 12 laps. I mean, we're up here talking about it. You're the one driving it. Hard work at the end of that race. It looked like it.
It was, yeah. You didn't know. Well, I suppose I need to speak for myself here. I didn't know where to go, and I didn't know where other people were going to go. I didn't know where Neil was going to go, because it's really good, this track. You can either run the bottom or the top at both ends of the track, and they're both really usable. In comparison to somewhere like, say, Kansas, where it kind of feels like on the fixed setup, you have to run the top all the time, and the bottom is really difficult. It seems like it's really even top to bottom here, particularly with the way this car is at the moment at this track. So that made it very interesting.
It did indeed. We saw you get pinned down on the bottom for a bit, though, and just not able to chop up in front of Pearson. It must have been just a tense few laps there where you were getting ever so close to each other on the exit of those corners.
Yeah, so every lap where I kind of eased up to him, it was pretty in control. So I was feeling pretty good about it. I wasn't feeling like we were taking any big risks or anything. And we did talk about Kansas, by the way, during the race. But
Neil did mention that.
Yeah, I promise I wouldn't mess it up. Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to. You can kind of slide job. I didn't want to try it too soon. When I did try it, I probably tried it at the wrong end of the track and didn't quite work out. But yeah, I mean, at that stage anyway, I think I definitely had no right rear tire. It was not no right rear tire, but it was really hot. It was pretty much gone. It wasn't going to come back. If I tried to cool it, it wasn't going to come back before the end of the race. So I just had to keep making pizzas behind the steering wheel and try and get there. And it looked like it was pretty much the same thing for Neil anyway. But even with that, like, I think if it was just a time trial out there from that last pit stop, me and him to the finish, I probably wouldn't have got to him. There's just too much of a gap. And obviously when I did get there without any sort of, I don't want to say interference, but there was just there's other cars out there racing too. And without those guys sort of getting in amongst it, I probably wouldn't have been able to make anything happen. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about that as well. I mean, we saw the cars trying to fight for stay on the lead lap, and that brought us some great entertainment towards the end there as well. Obviously, coming into tonight's race, you knew that you had to. It was an uphill battle a little bit to get into Phoenix. So obviously, getting this win tonight, that must make you feel a little bit more at ease. going into that final round?
Yeah, I mean, I knew I just needed to get a decent finish. I didn't need to win. I mean, it's nice to obviously go for it if it's there. And I said that to Neil at the time too. I said I don't really need to win. I just need to get this good finish here. Since we're in the position now, I can keep that at the back of my mind. But yeah, I was pretty disappointed with myself last week. Obviously, I fully messed it up, just trying to, hang on to someone's corner, and my intention was to then try and hang around the top through 1 and 2, but that didn't work out. So I messed it up for me and messed it up for Maddie as well. Sorry to Maddie about that. But yeah, I was pretty annoyed about that, and I just wanted to come out this week and make sure I did a far better job of racing people first and foremost, and then doing a good job of my race.
And you did that indeed. Look, and we say this about incidents and having those accidents on track. If you can hold up your hands and just go, look, sorry about that, messed it up, and you sort of know what's gone wrong and can actually own up to it, that makes a huge difference to everybody's happiness. You got to say, you might still be a little bit annoyed about the incident, but it does make everybody a little bit less irritated about it afterwards. So very, very nice to hear that from you. Again, congratulations tonight, mate. And well, before I let you go, the usual thing, the love, the shout outs. You've got to hard work to do because you've got the winning DPR car. So go for it, mate.
Thanks, man. And yeah, I don't think it takes me to apologise for anyone to know whose fault it was last week. That's for sure. But I mean, yeah, it's pretty obvious who messed up in that scenario. But anyway, yeah, thanks to everyone coming out for a race. Thanks to Simrig, South Wales, Phoenix Makers, all those Big Dippers, Benmax Mechanical, everyone at DPR. Shout out Steve on holiday at the moment. Hope he's watching. Get around him. And yeah, thanks to you guys in the broadcast and everyone putting the lead together. Appreciate it. And he's looking forward to Martinsville now.
Absolutely. And just before we go, heading into Martinsville next time out, how are you feeling confident for that one?
Well, I guess I'm in a scenario again where probably for 2 races in a row now where I just need to make sure I don't run into anybody, because that's you get the big targets on the back of your car, and I don't want to be doing that. So I'll go out, I'll take what I can get if it's there to be taken. If not, I'll just roll around and do the best I can.
Well, we look forward to seeing you out in Darlington and then back out in Phoenix for that big rumble at the end of the season. Congratulations tonight, mate. Well done indeed, and I'm sure we'll see you back in the booth in no time.
Cheers, guys. Catch you later.
Andrew Dyson there for DPR, taking the win here tonight, coming back in style after that blip in the radar from last time out. So we are done and dusted for tonight, but as we said, we're going to be back next week at Martinsville for the ANZCAR Cup. But the week's entertainment is not over here on Performance e-streaming, as we will be back with you on Sunday night with all the action from the Australasian V8 Supercar E-Series, of course, brought to you by My Private Seller, where we're going to be racing at, Matt?
Chicagoland.
Off to Chicagoland. So we look forward to that one for you. So that's going to be an exciting run in there. We've had some really good races. Chicagoland's surely going to bring us some epic stuff indeed. 134 laps on the 22nd of October, of course. So we look forward to seeing you there. But from all of us here at Performance e-streaming tonight, we're going to wish you a very good night indeed. For myself, Mr. Carl Wilkinson with you, of course, Mr. Mark Johansson and Mr. Matty Hunter. A good night to you all, and we'll see you back here soon. Bye-bye.